Here we are in week one, where you'll be studying the two chapters, chapter one, Foundations of Small Business, and chapter two, Your Business Idea, The Quest for Value. And I wanted to make a couple of comments about both chapters, as you'll be looking at those this week. They are individual chapters, and as you'll get accustomed to the way the authors put the material together in the chapters, that they look like individual discrete sections of material, and they are in many ways. They are just sets of material that the authors have divided up the topics and provided concise ways to analyze the material. But at the same time, I'd also like to mention that as you go forward in the course, and even in these first two chapters, that the topics run across chapters. Chapters are tied together. The topics are, in a sense, woven together. In chapter one, for example, the discussion of stages of growth, and I think you'll find that one interesting in a sense of, since we look so much in the course, we're looking so much at the decision making by the business owners and managers, that stages of growth points out the significance of making different kinds of decisions, or the challenge or the requirement to make different kinds of decisions in different stages of growth. So for example, launching the business early, getting the business started, has a set of decisions that are quite different from the decisions that managers face when they are in more of a mature economy, or a business that has been established for a longer period of time. And so decision making becomes different there. It may even involve later on, as a company is in a more mature level of growth and has been in business for a long time, it's quite possible that more people will be involved in the decision-making process, which has its its ups and downs there. It has its pros and cons, so that early on in the business, when there's one decision maker, very little coordination is required in that case, because one person is sort of doing all the thinking for the business, implementing all the decisions. Later on, as a business grows and that there are more decision makers involved, one of the decision makers has to take responsibility for coordinating the decision making process. So kind of think about that. Think about how decision making becomes more complex as the business grows. Also in chapter one, you'll get a good overview of the significance of small business and how important it is to the U.S. economy, and how important it is to our local economies. If you think of the many products and services that we all depend on, and that they are many times provided by smaller businesses. When you look at some of the statistics about businesses in chapter one, you also notice that small businesses sometimes aren't all that small, and so there are some rather large small businesses, if you want to look at it that way. And so kind of keep that in mind too. They're not all one or two person businesses. Many of them are rather large and certainly play an influence in the economy and in the communities where we live and shop every day. Chapter one also includes a good discussion of ethics and values. And again, that's an area that weaves together a number of topics, and we'll see that as we go forward again in the course. That customers, and think about what you're interested in when you shop, or when you have some service provided. You're buying a new air conditioner for your home. You're getting some electrical service, some electrician services. You're thinking of the always hoping that you'll be able to find ethical people to provide those services for you. And it is sometimes we take that for granted, but we also know that we need ways to in our smaller businesses, and particularly for people starting businesses, they need ways to make sure that their business practices are seen in an ethical way, making sure that decisions that are made are viewed, and that customers understand that everything is done from an ethical standpoint. So those are ethics and values go close together, because I think many consumers place a high degree of value on dealing with ethical businesses. It almost goes without saying, but it needs to be said. We need to include that topic in the course as well. Other stakeholders that the small business deals with, that the small business owner and manager deals with, are also very much interested in dealing with ethical, highly ethical businesses that hold the standards high in the ethics area. And when I talk about these other stakeholders, I'm speaking of suppliers to the business, and lenders to the business, others, any other business that provides the local community, the local government that might, in a sense, provide licenses of various types to the business that they might need to operate. So keep those ideas in mind as you read through Chapter 1, looking at get a good overview of what small business is in the economy. Take a good look at that stages of growth section, and then and you'll notice in the written assignment that there is question 1 has to do with the growth stages, the 5 stages of small business growth. So I'd suggest actually that before you undertake reading Chapter 1, that I would look at the question, the written question that you'll be asked to write about for Chapter 1, and then of course carry on that same process with Chapter 2 and all the other chapters that you'll be studying. When you get into Chapter 2, it's your business idea, the quest for value. Again, the authors give a widely varying discussion of business ideas and how that's related to value. I'll point out that the Voice of the Consumer project that you'll be working on through the semester and submitting right at the end of the term, that is discussed in the Knowing Your Customers section of Chapter 2. So Knowing Your Customers section. And if you have one of the books that has the page numbers, it's on page 46. And I know some of you have the electronic version, which has some other system for identifying the pages. But in any case, it is Knowing Your Customers, that section of the chapter. There is a good discussion of different ways of looking for value, and I think that's you might find that interesting from the standpoint of we go into business to provide value, to provide a service, to provide something, perhaps something that we see that other sellers in our community do not provide, and that gives the small business owner sort of the entry point into the marketplace, doing something of value that is not currently being provided for. And the authors in Chapter 2 will give you some ideas about how to look at value, and I think you'll find that interesting. There's also a discussion of sources of business ideas. Again, thinking of ways of the way I would suggest is to think of sources of business ideas, but at all times keep the customer in mind, because ultimately it's a great idea as long as some customer thinks it's a great idea and is willing to part with their money to buy our product or service. So those 2 chapters will get you started in the course. And I just wanted to say a few words there about those chapters, and I'll give you brief introductions as we go through the course. So I'll be back with a little introduction when we get to next week. So have a good week. Enjoy chapters 1 and 2. Thank you.